Hey, what's up guys? Lightsaber Samurai here. I'm back again with another video, and this time we are talking about 5 more PlayStation 3 games that you need to get before they rise in price. So without further ado, let's talk about it. Okay, so the first game on the list is a game by Insomniac, and with the recent rise in price of the Ratchet and Clank games, there is one that is still actually within budget, and that is Ratchet and Clank All for One. Now, this one is a slight departure in the series. It is part of the Future series that debuted on the PlayStation 3, but in this one, this kind of takes you out of that single player kind of open level experience, and this one really focuses on multiplayer. So in this one, you'll have to team up with Ratchet and Clank as well as Nefarious, and I can't remember the superhero guy's name, but anyway, you guys will team up because Nefarious has launched a plot and summoned this interdimensional monster that is rampaging across the galaxy, and it's even out of his control, and so all of you have to team up to put a stop to this monster before it destroys everything. So in this one, it's a couch co-op as well as network co-op multiplayer game, and you either playing solo, you and an AI buddy, or you and a friend on the couch or online will go through the game's missions and try to work through the plot. Now, this one, there are some differences because you're dealing now with a multiplayer game, and one of my biggest issues with this is that the camera is gone. We're down to a fixed camera now. Again, that makes sense because this is a multiplayer game that takes place on the same screen, but because of that, the levels don't feel quite as big as they used to. Just looking around the levels, that was something I always did when I play a Ratchet and Clank game. When I end up on a new world and start a new level, kind of the first thing I do is kind of look out on the vista and slowly pan the controller around and just kind of get my bearings. So there's kind of none of that feel in this game, but I understand why they did it. Also, this isn't the best looking among the Ratchet and Clank games. I think it took a hit in the graphics again because there's more going on screen with 2 playable characters at the same time. So you kind of lose some of the detail when it comes to that. That being said, this one, I had a lot of fun playing through this game. Me and my girlfriend played through it a little bit, and I do suggest playing through it with a real buddy if you can. Playing through this with the single player with the AI actually is pretty decent for the most part. I was just playing through as Ratchet and Clank was pretty much doing what I wanted him to do for the most part throughout the game. I know there are some games, like whether it be like Resident Evil 5 or, you know, kind of other games like that where you're kind of with an AI buddy, this quickly turns into more of like an escort mission type of feel with some of those games. But again, I was happy with the fact that the AI buddy pretty much controlled things on their own and kind of did what I wanted them to do without necessarily giving them instructions. All in all, as of the making of this video, this is still a pretty cheap game that can be had for about the $25 mark or lower. Again, try to avoid eBay. eBay prices are trying to put this game at 40 and 50 bucks, but it's really just not worth that. If you can snag it for under 30, definitely do it, and I've seen it in retail stores lately for about 14 to 15 bucks, and I definitely think that's worth that. Again, it's always nice to have more couch co-op multiplayer games in the collection, so if you see Ratchet and Clank All for One, definitely pick it up. Okay, moving on to the next game. This is a game I actually talked about before, but I wanted to put it back on your radar because this game was artificially inflated by some PlayStation news that came out a while ago when they said that they were going to remove it from the store, and that is DuckTales Remastered. So this game, about 6 months to a year ago, they said that they were taking it off of the online store, and of course that meant that the only way you can find this game was physically, and as soon as that news broke, people were trying to sell this version for $100 or more. luckily to say that they have since gone back on that. Last I checked, this game was still on the online store and you can pick it up. But because of that, things cooled down and people didn't feed into the eBay prices. And this game has dropped down below $30 again, which is fantastic. So in this game you play as Scrooge McDuck. I really like this game because the original voice actor for Scrooge McDuck, as well as Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and everybody else, Gizmo Duck and all the gang, everybody's in this game and they're reprising their voices. This is a remaster of the excellent 2D platformer that came out on the original NES, with a few nice tweaks and surprises. The graphics on this look fantastic. It is almost like watching the cartoon in motion in high definition. The controls are nice and tight. Again, smooth frame rates all about. I don't have really any complaints about this game. I know some people have complained that there's almost too much voice, and like I said, coming from the PlayStation era where we first started with CD-based media, that was the thing to have like interactive voice, and so there was a lot of that. So me, it doesn't bother me that much. I will say you can turn it off in the options mode if that's something that bothers you, but I mean, everything is there. I will say this game is quite a bit easier than it was on the NES, which again, not a problem for me. It's more accessible for, you know, newcomers to the series, but again, I wanted to put this back on the radar because this game is now trending at like $25 to $30, and this is an example of a game that was artificially inflated in price. And again, we'll have to talk about more of that in an upcoming video or live stream, because that's something you guys got to look out for. Just because people throw up, you know, try to raise the price, you know, very quickly, that doesn't mean you have to rush out and buy it for $100 before it gets to $300. There's been a lot of cases like this where games will shoot up in price and then, you know, kind of the pandemonium wears off and games drop back in price. So again, I do believe this will be an expensive game in its own right someday, but I'm saying go pick it up now while you can get it for the $25 and $30 before it actually, you know, does become like a $80 to $100 game. So DuckTales Remastered, you can also get this on the Xbox 360 and the Wii U. I believe the Wii U is still pricey though, so look for this on the Xbox 360 or PS3 if you can. Okay, moving on to the next game on this list, and this game has all of the makings to be an expensive hidden gem game. It was made by a major studio, so it had a great budget behind it. It had a fantastic developer behind it and storyteller, and again, this one still is just hovering around the $30 mark. This is American McGee's Alice Madness Returns, and this takes place after the events of McGee's Alice, where she's kind of recovering after the events of that. She's suffering from a lot of mental stress due to the fact that she blames herself for the death of her family, which died years earlier in a fire, and she very may well have been the reason for that. You find her years later. She's in the care of an orphanage in Victoria era London, and she's just trying to cope and, you know, deal with the demons of her past, and, you know, trying to put Wonderland behind her, where suddenly she starts to have episodes again once she's sent out on a kind of a mundane errand. And again, once this happens, she finds herself in Wonderland, and so she's trying to unravel the mystery of why all of this is coming back to her and escape and, you know, return to her own reality. The gameplay in this is fantastic. It's part action platformer, part 3D brawler, a la games like God of War or Dante's Inferno, things like that. The main weapon of choice is a bladed weapon called the Vorpal Blade, which basically looks just like a giant kitchen steak knife, and she comes after enemies with that. It's actually a really good weapon that has some pretty impressive range. In addition to that, she will get more ranged weapons in the form of a pepper gun that's basically works like a Gatling gun. She'll have different power-ups to where she can change size to get into areas she otherwise would be too big to fit in and things like that. This game, again, fantastic graphics. It's the art style that steals the show for me. Everything in this game looks like it's straight out of a Tim Burton movie, and the colors pop, as well as the fantastic artwork, the very unique, creepy designs of the drawings. This game, again, fantastic. I had a lot of fun playing through this game. I definitely need to beat it. If you see it, again, it's like the $25 to $35 mark, and it's definitely worth that. This is one that I definitely predict will eventually get pricey in the future, and again, when that happens, it won't be inflated. This is a game that's been steadily rising over the last several years, so this might be the last time you have a chance to pick this game up for relatively cheap. So if you see Alice Madness Returns and you don't have it yet, definitely add it to the collection. Okay, and the penultimate game on the list, this is a fantastic game by Bethesda, and again, another two-player co-op. So I'm giving you 2 for 1 in this video. This is the underrated game, Hunted: The Demon's Forge. You can find it on the Xbox 362. Again, like I said, it's made by Bethesda. That is the developers of the Elder Scrolls series as well as Fallout. So I mean, you're definitely put in that Elder Scrolls type of world. This is kind of that Western fantasy based RPG, but it's an action RPG where you and a friend can play together, or you can play it solo with an AI bot. Unlike the Ratchet and Clank game, though, the AI bot is not the brightest in this. Depending on who you play as, I generally play as Elara when I play solo, as I play as the she's the ranged attacker. She's an elven who rocks a bow, whereas you play as the other character, Kadek, I think his name is, and he's kind of your, up close and personal brawler. The AI basically just rushes the enemy, so if I'm playing solo, I don't like to play as Kadek because Elara, who's supposed to be hanging back and giving me range support, she'll just rush in and attack enemies and quickly get herself beat up and in need of aid. So again, the way to play this is definitely 2-player multiplayer. Talking about the gameplay is fantastic. It's again, if you're playing as Kadek, it's kind of your third-person action brawler game, and playing as Elara, it kind of becomes more of like a cover-based third-person shooter, which is awesome. She'll, pop in and out of cover and tag enemies with her bow. There's different spells that you can get regardless of who you play as, and all in all, it's a pretty good time. The graphics on this, I think, are done very well. I didn't notice any major issues as far as slowdown or drop frames or anything like that. The colors in this game are kind of muted. It's kind of suffering from that late 2000s era, like everything is kind of drab, brown, and gray, but I think the graphics are sharp and detailed. The animations are pretty good. The art style, like I said, it definitely gives me Elder Scrolls vibes. So if you're somebody who's played through Elder Scrolls Skyrim over and over and over again, you kind of want a different spin on your fantasy RPG, definitely give Hunted a try. This game, Hunted, is going for like $5-10 bucks. So this is a super cheap game in an era where PlayStation 3 games are rising in price. This one is still doing very well. So if you see this one, it's definitely worth adding to collection. Go do that. Okay, and moving on to the final game on the list, I wanted to give you guys a nice racing game, and this is brought to us by our good friends at Sega. This was their answer to Mario Kart on the Wii and Wii U, so it was primarily competing with like Mario Kart, Mario Kart Wii, and even Mario Kart 8. This is Sonic and Sega AllStars Racing, and this game is awesome. This is actually part of a series of games now. There's a new one that's on the PS4 and the Xbox. On the PlayStation and pretty much all 7th-gen games, we got this one and then a sequel that came out after this one. In my opinion, this one is my favorite simply because I enjoy the tracks on it more. I think the track design is a little bit better. It reminds me more of Mario Kart in the sense that you got nice wide open tracks, and you don't find yourself in confined spaces. Things aren't so narrow and the like. Again, it's pretty much Mario Kart, so all the standard Mario Kart tropes are there. You'll go through the races and collect various power-ups to kind of, you know, take advantage of your enemies and either pull yourself out of a deficit or extend your lead. Again, this game, the graphics are fantastic, nice and colorful graphics. It runs incredibly smooth at a nice frame rate that's consistent throughout. Last time I checked, this game also was under 30 bucks, and this is one that people just don't talk about. And again, in my opinion, this beats all of the Mario Kart games save for Mario Kart 8. I think it's pretty much on par with Mario Kart 8, which is a fantastic compliment. The tracks themselves, again, a lot of, you know, Sega love thrown into this, so you'll see a lot of nods to classic series, whether it's Samba de Amigo or Panzer Dragoon or just whatever Virtual Fighter stuff in here. There's some what's the racing game, Daytona USA. So a lot of the Sega classics in here. There's some Outrun stuff in here. All in all, this is a fantastic game and one that's definitely worth adding to your collection. So if you see this one, definitely pick it up. All right, guys, I do believe that's all I got for you, but let's talk about it in the comment section below. Questions, comments, concerns, threats. What are some more PlayStation games that we could talk about that are, you know, to be had for the cheap, at least for now anyway. If you guys like this content, go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. You'll be glad you did. I do believe that's all I got for you. Lightsaber Samurai out. Peace.